Hey everyone, can you hear me now? All right. I apologize for the delay. Let me know if the sound works correctly now. All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Let me just bring everything then from the beginning. I had some network instability today at the office, but it looks like it's correct now. Okay, so let's begin with today's webinar. Thank you so much for joining today. We're gonna see today the latest release of Remedyforce Winter 20 release. We're gonna check a couple of things on today's agenda. We're gonna see first the release schedule. How do you can check the release schedule to see when the next release is gonna be launched, and how to upgrade a Remedyforce org or a Sandbox um, to your latest patch in Remedyforce. Allow me to get the release schedule here on the screen. The best way to find the release schedule for Remedyforce is by googling release schedule Remedyforce. Since our website is already indexed, we probably will get the release schedule. I'm gonna put this link on the chat so you can be with me on the same page. There you go. And this is how the release schedule looks like. We normally release every single patch first on sandboxes, so you can test all the new features for Remedyforce before they get launched into production. For this new patch, it's gonna be launched on production until March 27. Today is a automatic release for the sandboxes, February 28. And during that time, if you notice, there's a self-upgrade window option where you can upgrade your production or your sandbox to the latest release. I'm gonna show you that in a minute and how you can upgrade a production or a sandbox manually before the automatic push. One thing to notice is that on every single release, there's a section called Release Notice and Notes. And if you click on that link, that will take you to the release notes where you can see every single change that includes on this patch. So this is a small summary of every single feature. We're not going to see every single feature because that will take us an entire week to see everything. But I'm going to cover the main topics um, for today's launch. So we're going to just scroll down real quick. There is some really good enhancements on the Remedyforce administration side. Remedyforce benchmarking is generally available. There's an important feature called import configuration sets that we're going to see in a bit. This will allow you to import request definitions from a production to a sandbox or from a sandbox to a production. Um, there's also a new extra feature added to SmartSync that we're going to see as well. Uh, CMDB, there's a huge upgrade into the CMDB security that we're going to see also that will allow you to customize the security of your classes within your permission sets with a very friendly UI. Request definitions. On request definitions, we're also going to see a couple of extra features. The rich text instructions on the request definition, it's available right now, and we're going to check that as well. And finally, the other topic we're going to see on the self-service, it's the new layout for the two-column layout on the self-service. And on the Remedyforce console, the auto assignment now works when you create or update a record. For the entire list of features, you will find them here. And at this moment, your sandbox should have Remedyforce Winter 20 already. So if you want to log into a sandbox, I'm going to give you some time to log into a sandbox so you can follow me with the next procedure. Okay, first, how do you check if your Remedyforce is already in Winter 20? Uh, Follow me. Go to your Remedyforce and go to the setup menu, and then let's go to install packages. On the quick find, we just type install, and that will take us to install packages. When you click on install packages, you will see the entire list of packages installed on your Salesforce org. One of them should be Remedyforce package. And if you notice, the version number should be the same as the one on the release notes. So we had 2020-01, which is winter 20. So this means my Remedyforce it's now on winter 20 release. So you can check that on your sandbox. Your production at this moment it shouldn't be on winter 20, but if you want to upgrade your production to the winter 20 release before the March 27, which is the automatic push, the only thing you need to do is log into your Remedyforce production org. Look here for App Exchange Marketplace. Again, this is on a production. However, we do recommend that you first check the release on Sandbox. Check any customization or anything that you may have also with your Remedyforce. Check the new release, and then after that, just go ahead and upgrade it. Um, I'm hearing some comments about the screen is really blurry. Um, Modify your your YouTube um, your YouTube. There's a gear icon on the YouTube image, and choose to set the quality of the image to at least 720p, and that should fix the streaming quality. Right now we're streaming at 1080p, but the YouTube application automatic sets it to 480. So set it to 720p, and that should fix the screen blurry. Okay, let's continue with the app exchange. So how to upgrade manually your Remedyforce production? From the app exchange on your production, look for Remedyforce. And choose BMC Helix Remedyforce IT Service Management Help Desk. And click on Get It Now. This will take you to the BMC website. And it's going to ask you if you're already a Remedyforce customer. So let's click on I am a Remedyforce customer and I want to install the latest version. And it's going to ask you to choose where you should install the latest release. And it's up to you if you want to install it on production or Sandbox. Again, we recommend to install first on Sandbox. Today it's the automatic push to Sandbox, so there's no need to install it again. But this is for a future release. If you want to install it right now in production, you just go ahead and click production. It's going to request you your production credentials, and the upgrade should take from 15 to 20 minutes. In the meantime, your Remedyforce still is available, and after that, you will receive an email telling you that the upgrade has been completed. That's how you upgrade manually your Remedyforce. And okay, let's start checking the latest enhancements. I will start with the CMDB enhancement because this is going to take us some time to see all the features. And I'm going to take this to a business scenario. I want to show you from a perspective of a Remedyforce administrator how can these new enhancements can be useful. Okay, so let's look first how the CMDB looks like right now. Sorry, this is a self-service. Okay, so this is our normal CMDB, and it has right now multiple assets already in there. So we have our configuration item section, or asset section, and the alt tab. Okay. In the past, it was really difficult for administrators to choose which classes are available to certain users, right? Because probably we need some users to be able to see only laptops, or only to be able to see the asset tab and not the configuration item tab. And that in the past it was really difficult because there was no UI to allow you that. In the past, if you remember, I'm going to take one of my test users here. In the past, on the BMC Helix Remedyforce section on the user menu, um, there was a CI management view, an asset management view, pick list. And you used to choose which level of access you wanted to give to this specific user. So this was really painful because you needed to do this for every single user on your org. So it was definitely not the best approach. And we hear that feedback. And let me introduce you to the CMDB security UI. By going to Remedyforce administration, if you open configure CMDB 2.0, and if you scroll down to class permissions, I'm sorry. This is what you're gonna see, and this is the CMDB security enhancement that it's been introduced with Winter 20. Now, if you notice, the left panel, it's the list of your permission sets. Okay, remember a permission set? It's similar to a profile, but the difference is you can assign multiple permission sets to a single user, right? So if you scroll down here um, from a user record, you're gonna see the permission set assignments table, and this is a list. So you should be able to assign multiple permission set to a single user. In this case, my test record has the Remedyforce Service Desk staff profile and the Service Desk staff permission set. Okay. So say that if we check the permission set, if we select the permission set, we're gonna see how this new security enhancement allows me to select which tabs I can show or hide from it, and also which classes I would like to show it, and which level of access I give into those classes, right? So I can choose to hide the configuration item management view, or to show them by just selecting the permission set, choose the level of access you want to give to this permission set, you click save, and finally you enable or apply the class permissions. And let me show you how this works. So right now our test record has has been enabled with everything, and I'm gonna show you how it looks like. Let me bring my test record here. Let me refresh the CMDB. This is the test record perspective. And as you can see, well, it has access to pretty much the same thing as at the administrator because we haven't removed anything. Okay, we have the CI, the asset, and everything. All right, so now let's go back to the administrator, select the staff one, and let's hide the configuration item management tab, and also let's make some modifications here. Let's look for laptop. So I want this guy to be able to read laptops. Hi John, I see your message. Can you try to modify your YouTube reproductor to and set it to the quality to 720p? That should fix the let me put it as a global message on the chat. Hold on one sec. All right, thanks. I'm sorry for that. It's pretty much how YouTube does it. You set it to 720p at least. If you have the option to set it to full HD, that should make the trick. Okay, that's correct. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, just to let you know, this is gonna be recorded as well, and you can use the same link and watch it the number of times you want, and set the resolution to 720 at least. And if in case you missed something I did, you can just go back and check it again. Okay, let's continue with our test user. So I'm removing the ability of this user to see the configuration item tab, and right now I'm modifying the laptop permissions. I'm giving them be able to read the laptop class, but I'm removing the create, edit, and delete permissions. So once you do that, um, save the changes. Make sure this applies in class permissions is active, otherwise it's not going to make any difference. And let's go back to our test record. Okay, if we notice now, we don't have anymore the CI view, so that means everything we see in here are assets. I'm still able to see laptops, but if you notice, I'm not able to either create a new one or edit, neither delete it. Okay, because we have modified those permissions. I'm still able to see it, but if I try to modify anything, the CMDB shouldn't allow me to do that. So there's a big difference in terms of how can you manage class security for a specific user, but also from a group of users. Okay, because as I mentioned it before, you can assign a permission set to a multiple users. In this case, service as a staff, it's assigned to all my staff users, so I can make them have some security that the other people can't. Okay, so let's make one more example. So imagine I'm going to revert these changes back. So imagine you have a custom permission set, and you would like to assign this custom permission set to only one specific user and grant it additional access. Um, so first thing first, let me create a custom permission set from the beginning. This will take me only 1 or 2 minutes. And I'm showing you everything I'm doing because I wanted just to see how to create a permission set so everyone can be aware of that. There's I think it's a better approach to show everything live to you guys. Okay, so I have here my permission sets, and I arrive here from the setup. I'm going to repeat that again. And from the quick find, I type permission set. But also the other way to arrive here, it's by going to the Remedyforce administration and manage users. And you can go ahead to profiles, and that will take you to the profile menu. And from here, you can just go ahead and choose permission sets. Okay, well, I'm going to clone one permission set. And the only thing you need to do is click on the clone button of the permissions that you want to clone. And I'm going to choose a name, and I'm going to put full CMDB. API name must be different, so I'm gonna put a description. This permission set gives full rights on the CMDB. Okay, now let me go back to the configure CMDB, and let's go into class permissions once again. And I should be able to see my clone staff one. And if you notice, there is no security available to this permission set because this is a new permission set. So I'm going to clone the rights from the staff one. And that's it. So now they have the same level of access. Okay, now I'm going to modify the staff one because I wanted the staff ones to only be able to see certain things. Oh, I haven't saved the changes. I'm sorry for that. So let me see. I think we will need to repeat the process. Yes, hold on. Gonna clone it once again. Do not forget to click on save. So there you go. Okay, so now on a real use case scenario, you want your staff members to have the same level of access. Okay, so I'm going to remove, create and edit, and I'm going just to give them the ability to see things, but not to create or edit. Okay, but you want probably 1 or 2 of your staff members to be able to manage your CMDB. Okay, so with that said, let's scroll down. And if you notice, our full CMDB permission set has pretty much all the rights except delete. We're going to grant them delete as well. And let's go to our test record. Let's scroll down to the permission set assignments. And I'm going to remove this one because I'm going to assign the other one, but you can keep both on this case. Permission sets can stack to each other. So if one permission set does not give you access to a certain object or certain CMDB class security, but the other one does, then it's going to stack each other permissions. For this case, I'm going to just keep using this one. Oh, that is not the one. So let's remove this guy and put the CMDB one. Okay, so that means this guy is going to be able to see everything, manage everything on the CMDB, while my other staff members assigned with the other permission set won't be able to do that. Okay, let's test it out and see if it works. Going to refresh the CMDB because I made some changes to the security. And okay, from the beginning, I now see the CI and asset. So that means the security is working. And if you remember, I couldn't create any laptop in the past. So now it means I can create laptops. See? Or I can edit the laptops or anything like that. Let's go back to our administration one. Okay, so the use case scenario here is now you can have group of users with certain security, but also you can have some super users with extra security that can allow you to manage better your CMDB security. Uh, for me, this is one of the coolest enhancements I have seen on the CMDB because it was I heard some feedback from the customers and it was really painful to manage classes, but thank you to this new release, now it's way better to manage all your security. So this was a huge topic. I apologize if I extended, I overextended, but I really wanted to show you how, from the administrator perspective, um, how to clone the permission set, assign the permission set, and stuff like that. So let's continue with that, with the other enhancements. There's a cool enhancement now on the auto assignment. And if you remember, if you are using record assignment, you probably will remember that the record assignment only worked for new records, right? And this was something. It was good. It was really good, the record assignment. But if you had a non-new record that made the criteria, then the record assignment was not applying the rules to this non-new record. To find the record assignment, go to your Remedyforce administration. Go to application settings and click on record assignment. From here, first of all, to use record assignment, you must have enabled the queue and user assignment. If you remember, this checkbox allows you to have a queue field and a staff field. Okay. So from here, let's go and configure staff auto assignment, and here's where the new feature has been introduced. You probably will remember that this checkbox wasn't there previously. So from here, you can choose. The record assignment works based on a round robin algorithm. So that means it's going to assign to each member of your queues a record in that order, but also works with based on business hours. We have a webinar now that I'm thinking recorded in the YouTube channel. So you probably want to go back to see how the entire feature works. I invite you to do that. But the new feature is that now the records can qualify for assignment when the record is created or updated. So you just need to go ahead and select this checkbox, save the settings, and with that, your records, even if they're non-new records, will qualify for record assignment. Okay, um, let's go now to the next feature. By the way, if you have any questions on the chat, I'm reading you guys there. If you want to put any question in there, just go ahead and shoot it. I will try to answer all your questions in here. All right, let's continue with the next one. The next one is called configuration sets. And you can look for it as well in the Remedyforce administration. This is still some beta, so uh, you probably will have some. If you have some problems with it, we 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 apologize for that. But any feedback will be much appreciated. If you have any trouble with it, you can go ahead and submit a ticket with Remedyforce support, and we'll do our best to help you. Okay, configuration sets, as it mentions here, allows you to Remedyforce metadata like request definitions from Sandbox to production organization. Um, you probably will be familiar with SmartSync that would allow you to copy mm, that type of information, request definitions, categories, templates from a sandbox, from a productions to a sandbox, I'm sorry. But this configuration sets, it does the opposite. So it will allow you to publish your request definitions from a sandbox to a production. From here, it will request you to put your username and password. Very important. This is the username and password for your sandbox. So it won't work if you use your production sandbox. Okay. Now let me see if I have a sandbox available. What is the difference between your sandbox credentials and your production credentials? By the way, if you're using, and this is a common question, if you're using single sign-on, the credentials for your single sign-on won't work in here because you have to use your Salesforce credentials. Okay. Remember, when you enable single sign-on, you start using your organization credentials instead of the Salesforce credentials, right? A sandbox, it's a total different story. Normally you had the option to choose a name of a sandbox, and this will be the difference between your production username and your sandbox username. Your sandbox username will always have at the end the name of your sandbox, follow it, I mean a dot name of your sandbox. Okay, so let me copy my sandbox username. If you don't remember the username, you just need to add the name of your sandbox at the end. And put, I don't have any major configurations on my sandbox, so I don't expect to see any huge difference because my production, it's already have all the sample data. So okay, if you notice, it has recognized my sandbox, and I have my organization ID in here, and obviously, well, the organization name. And yeah, as mentioned, I don't have any records right now on my sandbox, so that's why I don't see any records move from the sandbox to the production. This will be different for you, but this is to publish your your request definitions from your sandbox to your production. So you don't have to do it manually anymore. Again, this is still some beta, so if you find any problems with it, submit a case with support, and we'll do our best to help you. Okay, the next one, it's related to the self-service. Let me close these tabs. We don't need it anymore. And let me open the self-service. Hey Ann, I'm reading your question right now. It says, will Sandbox to Sandbox config sets will be on the roadmap or available in the future release? That is a really good question, Ann. And let me see if I can answer that right away. I think it's a really good question. Let me log into my Sandbox, and I will let you know if it's right away available from Sandbox to Sandbox. However, I will confirm this with Remedyforce team product management, and I can get back to you once I get official confirmation. But let me look really quick here. At the moment, yes, at the moment it's not available. But again, let me confirm it's still on the roadmap, and I'll let you know. Let me write down a note to get back to you. So we got your contact details, so we can get back to you. Has someone else lost the audio? Can you still hear me? Can you please confirm that? Okay, sounds good. Let's continue. I think it might be a problem with your device, John. I'm not sure about that. Okay, let's continue with the request definitions. There are some changes to the request definitions. Now they are able to show rich text on the this on the let me show you where. I'm gonna look for a request definition as in the past the request definitions can show information here as instructions, but in the past this was only a text available feature. Now with the Winter 20 release, you can show rich text on that specific description field. If you open a request definition, you will see the title, but also you will see the description, which can work as instruction field. Now you have this button, rich text description. And it will allow you to pretty much do some modifications. And in the past, this was really a feature that most of the HR departments I know were requesting. And in the past, it was really difficult to add a link to the request definition. I'm gonna put a business scenario. Imagine you need to you have a request definition to create a new employee at your company, right? But there are some companies, and this is varies from company to company, that will require the requester to download a form from a specific server on your company, fill that form, print the form, and sign it, right? So in the past, it was difficult to put the link on the request definition to show it. But now with the rich text, you can put it right here and it will appear directly. I'm gonna just put one sample. Obviously, this is not a download link. I'm um, just playing with the feature right now. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't click on it. If you notice, now I have the opportunity of having this rich text, and I can have directly the links on the request definition. And this is really, really helpful for those scenarios where you need to someone to be able to download directly from the request definition a form or a document or anything they need to complete the request. There are some scenarios where you probably will need to download a form that later you will need to attach it, right? So now that it's totally possible. You can put the download form on the request definition, and you can request the submitter to fill the form, sign it, and upload it again, and that will be directly on your request definition. Okay, so it's a very very good change um, from an administrator perspective. I would like to hear any thoughts. Do you guys have any questions about this, about any feature? Uh, there's a there's a list entirely of new features, and also I do have a presentation of it that I'm going to share with you. Um, I'm gonna put the link to the presentation on the chat. I had some troubles with it earlier. But in the meantime, I hear your thoughts. This is pretty much our agenda as of now. Yeah, I like those dogs as well. Okay, any questions about it? The Winter 20 is a huge topic. I wanted to cover the main features of it, like the auto assignment that we already saw, the CMDB security enhancement, which is a good one, the self-service security the enhancements. I'm still not finished with the self-service, by the way, but I'm just doing a small resume of the things we have saw. Um, so let me know if you have any questions or any doubts or any concerns. If no, I will continue to show the other enhancement for the self-service, but let me know in the chat. Red Queen Ace, it says config sets are something I've been waiting for a while. Glad it's been implemented. Yeah, I do agree with you. from an administrator perspective, it's really good to have your Sandbox available. Sandbox tools are really helpful, and the value that provides tools like SmartSync and config sets, it will allow you to have very useful Sandbox, because remember, the developer sandboxes are pretty much unlimited in terms of functionality with these tools, because now you can copy your Remedyforce data from, in the past it was possible to copy from production to Sandbox, but now you should be able to publish those request definitions from the Sandbox to your production. I do agree with you, it's a really good feature to have. So let's continue with the latest enhancement for the service request panel for Cell Service 3.0. Now, if you go to configure cell service and if you click on service request, and if we scroll out to cell service layout settings, now it will allow you to choose between two column settings and use relative ordering fields. So I'm gonna change that on my cell service. By the way, there's a very good tip I'm gonna give you. Um, some of you may know this, but every single page on Remedyforce administration, or pretty much on Remedyforce, it has a help for this page link right here. So it can be overwhelming the amount of configuration options that you may have on Remedyforce administration. If you feel lost, uh, just go ahead and click on help for this page, and that will take you to the oops, let's see, I'm not sure if it's a no problem, hold on. That will take you to the documentation for that specific section that you're seeing. Example, this one. And when you feel lost about the number of configurations you've seen, do that, and that will help you a lot, because that will take you to the official documentation and the latest documentation. Okay, so I have done that change. Let me refresh my cell service and refresh the Shiva here. I haven't changed anything on my request definition. Uh, so now with that change, now you can have two column service requests. Obviously, you need to sort your request definition in order to do that. So let's go ahead and do that for our request definition. And you can change that anytime by just going back to one column, clicking save, and that's it. This is very useful for very huge request forms where you need to use extra space. My request definition is a pretty small one, but I have seen ones that are huge. So having this feature to allow to have two columns, it will allow you to show more data in the same space. Let me refresh my cell service, and let me close this. It's not needed anymore. So see, this is the normal version, the one column version. And with that change, now you can have two columns. I recommend you to test it first on your Sandbox uh, in order to make sure that it's going to be rendering correctly with no additional changes to your request definitions. If you need to change something, you will need to do it at request definition level. So like I'm doing right now. Okay, guys, let me know any questions before we finish today's session. There's something really that I want to share with you. It's our self-help and how to contact BMC. Um, this is the YouTube channel link. I'm gonna put it on the chat, so in case you want to subscribe to us, we're constantly uploading videos, tutorials, and stuff to the Remedyforce YouTube channel. There's also we have created a small page where you can find the list of available webinars for different topics. That is the second document I'm pasting you. And finally, our technical support information, how to contact BMC support. And the entire list of changes for this version, that's something also I want to put in the chat. You may find it at the release schedule here. I deeply apologize. I couldn't put in place this presentation. Some sort of problem with the monitors I'm using. You probably see at the beginning of the webinar, I was struggling with um, with PowerPoint. I'm not sure why it's not taking the monitor which I'm streaming. However, I did my best to show you the new features. If you have any questions or if you need anything from support, you can reach us back. We truly appreciate you stay with us at this webinar. The next webinar will be related to Pentaho and how to configure the LDAP integration, which will be next month. We're going to show you how to do that from the Windows Server perspective and also from the Remedyforce perspective. So please stay tuned to the next webinar. Thank you so much for joining with us and for staying with me. And I hope you have an excellent day.